hand and then go back to that. So that's the stewardship group. The city is, and then there's some things to say about why city. You know, Jerusalem is one of the most ancient places.
Well, you have to be careful about elegance versus usefulness, I think. Because, okay, diversity aligns with the city, but boy, is there going to be diverse. Are you going to want diversity in here? You see what I mean? So,
well, it gets looser sometimes when you jump here. The connecting thing of the city being as a place for convening, where people connect. So the city, in some sense, is defined by having sufficient diversity of civic functions. In a town, you don't necessarily have that big enough hospital, or you don't have you can't have a college in a really small town. You could in some small towns, but the city provides enough critical mass for culture and industry.
But it's different from diversity.
That's different from diversity.
Because
you're right. You're right. That's right.
The danger of those would be non-diversity, for instance.
And cities are places where there is more diversity and the different.
For sure. But at a functional level.
These are all going to have diversity. So that's right. But there's some trade-offs of. It's sort of like you have to sort of say, here's what this is good for. Now, there's a whole bunch of other contingencies and ways that it could be misleading. And let's keep those in mind, but put them aside while we take advantage of what this is good for.
No, all I was saying that I can see how you do that. It makes sense. I understand that the city is actually today, in the world today, a kind of place of diversity. But I think the stewardship is when diversity has to engage, because it is confronted with something to do.
Where it does have to,
Whereas in the city, you know, you can have Little Italy and you can have Chinatown. You know what I mean?
There's something to do. The other thing is
the fact that there is something to do is actually very important to the diversity.
And what you're saying there is, it's almost like saying there's interrelationships that I've separated out the way this is organized, right? Like learning goes across here, and you're saying diversity, this one goes across here.
Well, I'm saying that there's a danger when you do something too elegant, that the elegance of it becomes...
there's, on one level, this is diversity on some thematic kind of way, but each one of these has to incorporate learning, connecting, and learning.
That's why, thinking of tags and categories, if this is the beginning of your system of categorizing and tagging, like when you tag, you can tag with more than one tag.
Tagging, like you used a term the other day, cloud of ideas or something.
Tag cloud.
Tag cloud. And I think that's fascinating, you know, metaphor for how we are starting to think. Like what Howard Gardner was saying, ways of mind or something like that.
But have you seen tag clouds? They're actually a real thing.
I've seen Wordle.
Wordle creates a tag cloud. But if you have a blog, for example, and you're tagging things, you can create a tag cloud out of it. So then, for example, on mine, and then you can. I mean, it's fascinating because you can see what words, what categories you're using. You can see what categories you're using more, or what words you're using more. In fact, mine isn't done with tags. You see, on my blog, you see, it does it automatically. And so I have no idea, but it's interesting for me to see that social is the word I use the most. People, learning, different discourse, education. So, and then the smaller the word, the less you're using it. I mean, mine is a slightly different one because it's more like Wordle, because it does it with the words. But if you can do one with just your tags.
Okay, so this is fascinating. What we're to extend our mind, the ability to think in these dimensions. Well, then inner city gets to inner locality, resolves hierarchicalness in a sense, and it's aligning in a horizontal. It allows for aligning in different ways. And you can think of these stewardship groups on energy efficiency having partners all over the world. But now, if you want to find out what's going on in Portland or Lisbon or Setúbal, there's a group with an identity about that. We are a stewardship group too. We know how you guys do things. I mean, now there's kind of tags, as it were, to connect to. there's this phenomenon of civic stewardship that people get, this kind of ethic, and they also have a way of structuring it. So then resistance.
And there is a specific stewardship group that takes care of the connectivity.
That's a meta community. Yeah.
It is a meta
Yeah,
community.
there is a meta community within the city or even within the neighborhood, but there's an explicit sense that there needs to be a global meta community. However that emerges, but that's what it's, has that ethic of it's supporting locals to connect as the driver of it, not some authority person, group. And then resistance, and I've tied these, and these are obviously way oversimplified and categorized in a very biased way, but just the difficulty of it, just the difficulty of learning to challenge basic beliefs in a way that isn't threatening to other people, the difficulty of understanding systems and how they work, and all the, using some of these World Cafe kinds of things, but then taking those ideas and converting them into implementation plans and having action learning go on. There's some real difficulty to doing this, just in practice. Self-managing teams are difficult structures to manage. Another one is just the power relationships. Things are going to change. If you start having all kinds of people getting together to look at housing and they really get involved and legitimized for doing that, people are going to lose power. And most of those are going to be people with lots of money, status, and authority today. So this isn't, it's going to be painful. Painful for good people. A lot of reasons why they would want to do it. But, like Keegan's saying, they have deep immunities. And I think he went a little light on the fact that, well, now that we see the immunity, now we can overcome it. Well, there's going to be people who are going to see these immunities in spades, and they're just going to say, I really, for my family, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to move into a smaller house. And whatever it is, some version of that. Okay, and then widespread inertia. Just the social inertia of doing things the way they are. The systems are difficult to change, and so.
But why do you put this at the intercity level again?
Because if you're trying to do something global, you need other localities to participate. If it's really interlocal, it's not like let's all do the same thing and hope other people do it. It's we're going to be doing this here, and we want Portland, Oregon, and Lisbon or whomever to participate, but they have local inertia. They have local system inertia specific to their locality. Naples has its mafia. I mean, so inertia isn't just this globalistic thing. It's really a bunch of local inertias. It's not like we need. I'm just saying, it's not like the problem isn't humanity doesn't get the problem of the Arctic ice cap going away. It's really households and communities and cities whose local systems and political structures and ways that people make a living and all that are all tied up